Hey folks, it's Jim, it's Julie, it's 2013! This is the third cut of the show! So, welcome to 2013, welcome to episode 227 of Geeking Out. Let's get to some comic reviews, shall we? Because, number one, it's our birthdays for the next 2 weeks, so let's get to having some fun with Spider-Man 700.
Alright.
Oh boy.
So, the Amazing Spider-Man 700, unless you've been living under a rock, which, for those people, spoiler alert, this is also being affectionately known as the death of Peter Parker.
Yes, because Dan Slott loves to ruin things weeks before the actual release.
Whoopsie! So, in this book, we have 3 short stories. We've got the showdown between Peter Parker and Dr. Octopus for the body of Peter Parker.
Yep.
We have an aftermath story, which is super adorable and really, really cute. I don't want to really give you a lot on it because it's just so cute, and anything I say will hurt the story.
Yep, and that story will not make sense in 6 months anyway.
And then in the third one, I've got to admit, I couldn't make it through it. It was the art. The art is done in a very, very, I want to say child-friendly manner. Sort of cute, chibi-esque painted style, and I couldn't do it. So it deals almost entirely with the Black Cat. You get a lot of cameos of other superheroes. It's cute. I just couldn't do it. But it's a good book. It's a good book to have in every collection. So if you're lucky enough that your local comic retailer still has some, you should pick it up. You should also go hunting for the second print variants because it's a really, really great cover, and those should be a little more available come
Next
the
week?
end of this month. January 30th
the end of this month.
are the second print variant covers, and it's really cool. I wish that I could show you, but I can't. So everything that I felt was missing in the first story of Amazing Spider-Man 700, which was a bit of a letdown, I got in Avenging Spider-Man 15.1. This book directly bridges the gap between the end of Amazing Spider-Man 700 main story and Superior Spider-Man number 1. This is Otto Octavius making upgrades to the spider suit. It's him starting to realize a lot of the pressure and the weight of what being the Amazing Spider-Man is going to entail on him. It's the background and a look at the new Superior Spider-Man on the inside. What Dr. Octavius is thinking and feeling and going through. And it does a really great job of leading us directly into Superior Spider-Man number 1, which, of course, has Otto Octavius as Spider-Man.
Yep.
It also is our first look at how Doc Ock reacts as Spider-Man when there are supervillains present, as he
goes on a murderous rampage.
It's not murderous, don't fib.
Okay, well, he severely injures people.
It's good, though. It's exactly what we were promised. It is no longer your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Nope.
Spider-Man's got an edge. It's kind of nice.
And then the ending is totally cliche. But I'm not saying anything.
All we're saying.
I'm not saying anything else.
You should pick it up. I think that there's some potential for a really good new Spider-Man book. Whether or not...
That will last 6 months.
I think this title is going to continue. I really do. I give this title good couple of years. I don't know if it'll have the same weight as Amazing Spider-Man did, but I think
doubtful, but
I think that they're going in a good direction with Spider-Man. So, give it a chance. You might have some issues, but I know that there are second prints that will be coming the 6th of February, so if your local retailer does not have any, check back with them.
Alright, next up, we have Mara, number 1. In this one, Mara is a gifted woman in a sports and war-obsessed future. But after manifesting supernatural abilities on live TV, she becomes even more famous. But for all the wrong reasons.
I don't know how how those could be wrong reasons. I mean...
All right.
It's not like she... I'm trying to find a wrong reason to be all the more famous, and I'm really having a hard time.
Well, when people see that you're manifesting powers on live TV, they're going to want to use those powers for evil.
So,
generally.
Just because they want to doesn't mean she has to.
Yeah, but if they force her to, then there's that difference. But anyway, basically, she's the world's most famous volleyball star. Yeah, volleyball is a gigantic sport in the war and sports-obsessed future. So I'm going to call it Deathball.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Deathball.
Alright, so this is written by Brian Wood, who usually does some really good stuff. This is kind of subpar, in all honesty, because you really don't learn too much about this character other than some of her past, and it leads up to her manifesting the powers. So we don't know what's going to happen next.
She manifests powers, and then we have to wait until issue 2?
Yeah.
At least you've got a reason to pick up issue 2.
And it's not a bad story overall. It's an interesting character study, if anything, which Brian Wood is generally very good at doing.
I enjoyed the art when I was flipping through.
Yeah, it's got some really nice art in here. But if you're a fan of Brian Wood, check this one out. It's quite enjoyable. Next up, I have Princeless, Short Stories for Warrior Women #2, which features the short stories The Runaway Prince, in which an imprisoned prince must make his escape with the help of an elven accomplice, and The Smiths, which tells the tale of how Bedelia came to be a blacksmith, though her family life was not as good as it could have been. Alright, once again, another great Princeless story. I've had a lot of fun with this series thus far, and I'm really excited for Princeless 2 coming very, very soon. My favorite story in this one has to be the
Runaway Prince one?
Yeah. The elfin girl is pretty funny. Now,
again, I really liked the art in the first one.
As did I. It actually really works well, and the second story is actually really heart-tugging because it goes on a lot of levels that Bedelia does not want to leave her father and go with her mother. So it's a heart-tugging type thing because a lot of us have experienced this. So I really like it for that reason, and there's another reason to like it as well because, quite frankly, there's a preview for Princeless 2 in here, so
Huzzah!
Yay! So do check this one out if you're a fan of Princeless. It's a lot of fun.
I'm going to make a very quick note. These short stories for Warrior Women, this was 2 of 2.
Yes.
So, that's a mini-series that is now complete.
Yes. And look for Princeless Volume 2 coming very soon.
Yes. My next book up is Avengers Arena #1. The easiest way to summarize this
Battle Royale
is that it is the Avengers, or rather Avengers Academy, meets Battle Royale / The Hunger Games.
Which is what Battle Royale is, what Hunger Games is stealing from anyway, so
Not stealing, inspired by.
Stealing.
So, in this, the students from the Avengers Academy have all been abducted by the supervillain Arcade.
Who hasn't been seen since like the 80s, I think.
But that makes it all the better. He's back.
Yes.
And he's inserted them into a world based loosely upon books that he read while he was imprisoned. Children's books he read while he was imprisoned.
This is why you don't give prisoners things to read, people.
It was a fairly interesting book. I liked the art, and
I liked the relationship aspect from between the two characters throughout the book.
very much enjoyed...
But it has a very depressing end.
I very, very much enjoyed the relationship aspects. And I enjoyed that Arcade did a hat tip to who he used to be by saying, "Oh, and I always forget, welcome to Murder World."
Yes.
So that was neat. It was nice. It just was a fairly good... It did a good job of setting the tone for the rest of the books.
Yeah.
So, if you enjoyed The Hunger Games, or you enjoyed Avengers Academy, pick it up. Give it a chance. We're on issue 3.
Next up, we have Finding Gossamyr, #3.
Which I'm plugging my ears because I don't want to hear too much.
Alright, so, Go ahead. Plug your ears. They all die. Everyone's dead.
Apparently plugging ears has not gotten any better since I was 5.
I'm joking.
Alright, so finding Gossamyr 3.
Denny and Jenna meet Azun, the peace marshal of Gossamyr, who has come to try and save Elric, while Jenna tries to save the Oxline Barnabas. But the children soon learn they are trapped in Gossamyr.
Not trapped.
Yep, they're trapped.
Denny can get them out.
Yes,
he can
but
do
the
anything.
theorem that they need is back home.
He can do anything.
But either way, alright, so is this as good as the last two? Damn yes! Man, this book is good.
So excited for when I have time to read it.
This is on my top 5 list. This year, next year, this is one of the best comics on the shelf today that people need to be buying. And quite honestly, it would make a fantastic Pixar film one of these days.
I hadn't thought of that yet.
But don't you agree? Yes.
I'm inclined to agree. It's a good book with a good story
and a
good characters.
Beautiful heart to it as well, and
exactly.
characters that you just can't help but love.
Give it a chance. Ignore the fact that it's all ages.
Yeah.
Try it because it's a good story.
Yeah, and you cannot go wrong with this book. I honestly can't rate it highly enough. This is one of the most beautiful books on the shelf today that everyone should be reading. So do yourself a favor, go check this book out. It is simply wonderful.
You know what else is simply wonderful? Star Wars #1. So.
We'll see how long this series lasts, as Dark Horse's contract on Star Wars ends in about a year or so.
Maybe they'll make a deal and it can continue.
Maybe, we'll see.
Or maybe they'll just make these ones super fantastic.
That is the hope.
So, in this, timeline-wise, it's set between episodes 4 and 5.
Okay.
It's after they've blown up the Death Star, and before we meet up with them on Hoth. And Luke, Leia, and Wedge have been sent on a...
No Ewoks.
No Ewoks. No. It's primarily actually a Leia-based story. Which
it's
is
100% Ewok-free.
So, in this book, Luke, Leia, and Wedge have been sent on a scouting mission for the Rebel Alliance while they try to find a new home planet to set up shop on.
Because there's nothing but Alvaron chunks everywhere. Sorry. Too soon?
Too soon. So, they start to suspect that there's something fishy going on when, as they arrive at a planet on the Outer Rim, the furthest planet on the Outer Rim, the Empire arrives very shortly thereafter. TIE fighters drop out of...
It's as if Darth Vader knew where his son and daughter would be.
Now you've done it. Darth Vader's coming for you. He's gonna shun the non-believer.
Like I'm scared of that 7-foot asthmatic. Sheesh.
I find your lack of faith disturbing. Anyways,
I only have no faith in George Lucas, okay?
That means that you'll be on board for episodes 7, 8, and 9, because there's very little Lucas.
Possibly. We'll see.
Not possible. You guys heard him. It was Lucas. So Jim's going to have to go see 7, 8, and 9.
Please note that in 2015, Julie will be dragging me to Star Wars. We will record the experience.
However, right now, Star Wars #1, it was good, especially if you love Leia. I love Leia, and it's good. It's really, really, really good. Get it. Did I say that it was good?
No, I'm pretty sure you said it was terrible.
I think you're fibbing.
Well, probably. Alright, last up this week is Girls of Steampunk Masquerade, which features the story Viva La Venice by Rod Espinosa and pinups by Will Terrell. Alright, so I already reviewed this one, basically, because the story Viva La Venice was already presented in a former book, in black and white. But here it is in color, so it works even more beautifully than last time. And the pinups by Will Terrell and Rod are very nice here.
They are nice pinups.
there's really not much else to say about it because there's really not much in the way of content. Now, what content there is, it's beautiful to look at, and there's some really beautiful storytelling here. I know you had some problems with the dresses.
I have wardrobe issues because they break the laws of physics, but I can ignore that for comics.
I will gladly discuss it with Rod later today.
I'll happily ignore broken physics for my comic books.
All right. So, yes, if you're a fan of steampunk, this is a great looking book, and
it's pretty.
It's a great looking book for number one reason is it's a great way to get some steampunk costume ideas and stuff like that, and you can always make a costume out of what you see. So if you can bend the laws of physics to make the suits that Rod makes, prove it to us and send us the photos, and we'll be glad to show it.
Please, 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 please prove me wrong. Please.
All right. So that brings us to the end of another exciting episode. We'll do a couple more catch-up
few more catch-up titles through
next
the month.
week and throughout the month. But for now, we will see you next week. We all need some sleep to get ready for the party next week. Later.